Hello, hello. Sorry, I know you hear me clicking around back here. Or maybe not. Someone just popped in. But future yous may. Sorry I got caught up in Sarah Loves Crafts live. And so I'm running a tad bit behind. But this is an extra day for me as far as going live is. But I have all the drinks. Filled up my water bottle, got an extra bottle. Fresh coffee, everything. Hello, 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 Mary. Hello, hello, Rosanna. So, let me get this on Do Not Disturb or recording mode. Okay, there we go. I freaked out because, I have to go off camera for just a minute. Hold on just 1 second, please. Sorry, I just realized I hadn't taken my meds because I was running behind, so sorry about that. If we go long, I can't be 2 hours late. But I don't think we will go long today. So, yes. Oh, really? Thanks. Wrong channel. Oh, well, let me check. Yes. So, yeah, I was watching Sarah Lovecraft. I'm going to expand upon what Beth was talking about over on Rosanna's channel today. I'm going to reset my tools real quick so that at least in the beginning of the video, I know where everything is. Doesn't mean it'll stay that way. You can't go anywhere. You get put way in the back, and I need you up front today. So, Beth talked about adjustable bracelets and the different kinds. I'm going to show you how to make your own, and I'm even going to expand upon a couple of things that Beth covered this morning that I didn't think she did, that I didn't know she was going to, is what I'm trying to say. So I have a couple of other quick ideas for you, easy peasy, mac and cheesy. Oh, I need to get my phone back on so I can go and put out the link real quick in the comments for the, dang it evened out. Oh, here, I still had it open. For the various bead tubing. Now, this company is just one of many, but I will tell you why this is the one that I am sharing with you guys, because if you don't already know this, I want you to know this now. I do not. Oh crap! It's not gonna let me. Hold on, I gotta go in under my. If anybody knows how to change that, because I don't mind if you guys. I don't mind if you guys share links. I mean, as long as it's not spam level sharing and it's just about you and your work, I don't care. So if anybody knows how to shut that off, please let me know because I want it to be off. I don't want that. Okay, so let's go to my channel, March 3rd. Here we go. Open it up. And I want you guys to tell me if you hear any echo, so that if not, I can show others how to set up their Do Not Disturb so that they can have two devices open at the exact same time, connected to the exact same stream without the echoing. So let me know, because as far as I know, there's no echoing, but I have been on my channel right now for the last 30 seconds to a minute, and I don't hear any echoing. So let me know. That is the link. Now I'm going to tell you the two reasons that I picked this company. A, their holes are uniform. I have bought less expensive beading tubing before in the past, and ran into issues as far as like couldn't get string and wire to go through it clearly. I would have to clear the hole all the time. Stuff like that. They don't do that. Plus, they have a bunch of colors. A bunch of colors. You can buy, so Beadalon, and I'm not harping on Beadalon, I'm just giving you prices. There are certain things like if I'm gonna go with a new, like the square I got from them, that's where I would buy it to see if I like it. As an experienced tubing user, I started with Beadalon, just know that. I then went looking for others because Beadalon's variety wasn't a lot. So that's why. So Beadalon 1.7 millimeter for 5 meters, which in case you don't know this, a meter is 10% more than a yard. So a yard is 36 inches, a meter is 39 point blah blah blah. I know this from the crochet world. If you look at the back of a yard scale, you will see that when it talks about it in yards versus meters, the difference is 10%. So you get 1.7 millimeter, 5 meters of it for $5.99. That's off of the Amazon website. The one I'm sharing with you is 2 millimeter, and you get 32.8 yards for $8.99. So you get considerably more. Also, with all of those colors on there, oh, I'm confused now, Rosanna. Wrong channel, LOL, let me change. How did you change? I'm so confused. Oh, was Beth still logged into Rosanna? I'm like, what is going on here? Okay. All right, there we go. Is that what happened? I could not figure out what she meant when she was like, wrong channel. Oh, sorry, I have a pain patch on the back of my shoulder, and I'm allergic to adhesive. I can use the kind that they put over IVs in the hospital, and that doesn't blister me. Doesn't mean it doesn't make my skin itch or drive me nuts. But yes, okay, got you. So the other thing about the link that I just shared is you don't have to buy one spool of 32.8 yards in one color. They have 3 color sets. They have 6 color sets. They break it down so that you can get a variety of colors up front rather than spending $8.99 on one spool of one color. Because I said in the comments, because somebody was like, oh, you don't need to go out and buy more stuff. And I was like, wait, I thought buying stuff we didn't need was what beading was all about. We go down rabbit holes. I know this. So I know that if it were me in your shoes, I would want to buy all the colors. So this is a way for you to go and buy those and get multiple colors without breaking the bank. Second thing that I wanted to mention, that said that they look like leather. They absolutely do. So for your vegan customers, they are going to get the closest thing to leather because I'm sorry, but the foam faux suede, it works, but it's not the best, and most of them don't like it. So, and two, it's cheap, it rips easily, everything like that. I have knotted using bead tubing. Stephen has a necklace and 2 bracelets because I wanted to see if it was possible. I was going to cut them off after, he'd worn them for a couple of weeks so that we could see how they lasted on him because he's very hard on jewelry and he still has them. So it's just another option for your vegan friends. Now, the items that the adjustable sliders that she was using are great. If you're trying to keep your costs down a little bit, I'm going to give you a couple of pointers. I will tell you that in one of the options, I could only find my gold ones, and I don't have any gold chains, so I will be using a different color chain, but I will be putting it on through a gold slider that I will show you how to do. So there's a few options I want to show, but you did a very good job today. But sorry, I wasn't like trying to say you didn't give a full lesson. That's not what I was saying. I'm just saying like there was a couple of things that I thought I could expand on. So yes, had to have a blood drawn. Of course, they had to do it twice. Yay! I'm sorry. I'm glad that you're laying down. Took the bandage off. Only half the itching left. It'll get better, sweetie. I know, because we are allergic to adhesive. So having the bandage on drives us batty. That's why I only like it's on all of my charts that they have to use the specific thing. And it's funny because Rosanna and I have joked because I call her my honorary aunt. And so we joke because we're like, oh, it's hereditary. And then we found out we have the same maiden name. So, like, she's already done a 23andMe, I believe. And so now I want to go and do it just so I can see if we are actually related. Nobody told me my lips were naked. Anyways, so like I said, I'm going to give you a couple pointers. I'm going to show you ways that you can make those components yourself. And I actually have a couple of other ideas that are good for craft fairs for the summer, quick and easy. You can make right on the spot. I agree with Beth. Don't ever tell them come back in 5 minutes because they will haggle you to death. Something else she said about how when she was in the car business, like she knew her product. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of advice. If somebody comes up to your booth and starts asking questions about different gemstones and are like, well, what are the metaphysical? If they're using that word, metaphysical properties of the gem, they know the answer. They're testing to see if you know the answer. So they know whether or not you know your gemstones well, and that therefore they attribute that to you buy quality gemstones. So absolutely, if they're maybe start out with a few of the really popular gemstones like rose quartz and amethyst, maybe onyx, things like that that you can use that will appeal to the most amount of buyers, and read up on those gemstones, because if you know those answers, I have found that I have repeat customers because of that, because I knew the answers when they talked to me, when they asked me questions. So she's absolutely right about that. It really is important to know your product. Okay, off the soapbox, down to the mat. Okay, one of the things that she showed was how you could use this and attach or memory wire and attach this to one of those. The thing I want to do to expand on this, and I was almost done making it and then stopped in case so that I could show you what it was I was going to do. So, um, so I just have some very simple strawberry quartz beads on half of a like full round. You you don't need half, and I could probably I'm gonna put one more bead on, otherwise I have to cut off more memory wire, and I hate using memory wire cutters. Okay, so you have your little moon shape. And once I make the loop on this side, you'll see. I like to use these, or like not specifically this pair, but like that, I like to use, because the only thing is that those, I don't know how she uses those other ones because I've broken 4 pair of them and gave up. And that's why I bought these, only to find out that now I want lovers because apparently those ones don't split. So I'm going to go down to the very base because that's the only spot that will hold the wire in place, unfortunately. And I'm going to coil it at least 1.5 times on both sides. And the reason is then the jump rings don't fall out as easily. Now, the way that we're going to make this an adjustable bracelet is very simple. You're going to put a clasp on one side. And this is literally a 5-minute project. If you cut all of your rounds and then you go in and you attach your clasp to everything and you have all that done, this absolutely is a 5-minute project. And I mean, you're just doing it assembly line style. Dang it. Sorry, I have I thought I had that all the way at the end of my pliers. And I have a little bit of, there we go. Had a little bit of a square piece. Then you're going to take some pretty decorative chain that you can fit a clasp. So this will go across the top of their arm like that. And then all you do is pick this chain. You're going to do the rest of your length that's necessary for your bracelet. And then you're going to do a couple of extra ones. So just for argument's sake, let's say we need this much. Then you just take your jump rings, and for these type of bracelets, I absolutely encourage you guys to use oval jump rings. Because this will take more abuse. I want to say, why am I not down on the mat? Oh, I was. Oops. I don't know what just happened in my brain, but I thought we weren't. I apologize. And it doesn't even have to be like fancy chain. Even if you just take some round jump rings and some oval jump rings and make a cute little design with a cute little design chain out of nothing more than jump rings, you're good to go. And then, wait, I did this wrong. I have my clasp going the wrong way. I apologize. I needed it through the loop, not through the... And then all they do is clasp the bracelet whatever length they need it to be. And it becomes adjustable. And then the added thing is you can put a little like, what are they called? Why can I not think right now? A little sparkly or whatever, a cha-cha, I don't know. But the good thing is that you can tell your ladies that work in offices who can't stand to have those on the inside of their wrist, this is on the side of the wrist. So it doesn't get in their way as often. So it's, but quick, yes, dangle, thank you. I had broken the memory wires. Well, one pair the first time I used them. Yes, I don't, it's always the little one, the pin pops out every time. And it doesn't, and because memory wire is so tempered, I've used the strongest Gorilla Glue, let it dry for like a week, and 4 turns in, it breaks out again. So this is another little way to make a quick and beautiful adjustable chain in another way. And then, yes, you have the little dangle, whatever. If your chain ends like this, I personally recommend putting something in that hole. Yes, you could cut it off and file it. Absolutely. This is 18 karat gold plated chain. So I wouldn't do that because the metal underneath is brass, so it's not gonna ever be the same color. Um, but because there is a loop there, if you don't put something in that loop, your bracelet is going to look unfinished. And that's not the look you want at craft fairs. So you grab yourself several strands of rose quartz, amethyst, the most popular ones, and they're the most popular because they're the most economical for makers. So makers tend to go towards those rather than the ones that are more expensive and a bigger investment for them up front. But here's another option for you. You can change up using the exact same rose quartz beads, change it up by putting in various spacers, all of that, and just you're using the same design and just kind of like spread the rose quartz out, like have it on one table and then have something in, or like one display thing, then have something in between, maybe two things in between, and then have the rest of your rose quartz over here. If they say, is this all the rose quartz you have, then you can direct them over. But if to their eye it's all rose quartz, they're not gonna go for it. Also, another marketing tip. Um I recommend that you have a one for $10 or three for 25. Mark all of your things with color coded stickers. And then have a sales sheet up that says anything with this is $10 or three for $25. People will buy more if they think they're getting a deal. So they may have originally only wanted to spend the $10, but in the end they spent 25 because it was a good deal. And the more you go looking through it to find the other two items to add to it to get that discount, they're going to find more things they like. So it just like work it into your price point so it's not hard. Yes, and do not leave the rose quartz in the sun. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys with something right now. I have different price sheets for different places that I sell within the valley here. If I am in Gilbert, if I am in Scottsdale, if I'm in Ahwatukee, if I'm in like the ritzy part of Chandler, those are all suburbs within the Phoenix metro area. One price card is more expensive. And I'll tell you why. Has nothing to do with me being greedy. It has to do with them thinking, oh, these are cheap, so they have to be cheap materials. It's just, I had it happen and I heard the tip from somebody else. I upped it the next time I was there and I sold a lot more because my prices were higher. And then it gives you the room within your budget and your price margins to then, when you're in the lower income areas, or say you're at a big like swap meet or whatever else, and there are 40 other people, you can knock down the prices at that point for that audience because everybody else is going to have mass produced stuff from China. So, and things like putting a dangle or a little pretty on the end of your chain rather than cutting the loop off and filing it, that's something they're not doing. Putting a pretty on the end of a chain extender. And when they ask why is that on there, and you can tell them because if you hold the dangle right here between your fingers, it's easier for you to clasp your bracelet. Then they're like, oh my gosh, that's so clever. And again, they want to buy more. So just a couple of things. I know marketing is best wheelhouse, but I just want to mention those two things. I've mentioned some of it before. I haven't gone in as like as much detail, but okay. Next, I'm going to show you how you can make some of, where did they go? Oh my goodness, how you can make your own slider components. I literally had them out right here. Then again, I was looking at the computer screen and didn't realize what my mask or my camera was on the end. Are you kidding me right now? Where the heck did those go? Okay. Hopefully I will see them. My brain will start functioning again. I will show you another way of doing it. This is some cording that Randy has from Thunderforce Descendants. I bought it in 2 colors. This is cording. This is another really good thing to make adjustable bracelets out of. One tip I will give you, wherever you're going to cut, roll up some tape on it. Then wherever you're going to need the length you're going to need to cut. Then when you get to the point where you're going to cut, when you cut it, it's not unraveling on you and you don't have to go searching for it. I really am mad. Because we couldn't figure out where like my whole thing was, and then Steve was like, "Oh, I found some," but they were all gold, and they were literally right here on my desk. There were 4 different sizes in the same thing. Anyways, that way when you go to cut the cord, it's not unraveling on you, especially if you're going to be knotting with it, which is what I'm gonna show you. So I already like tape that point. I'm now gonna come down here, which is my measurement, and I will tell you, you don't need to use very much tape at all. Like literally, that's all you need. If you do more than that, your fabric is going to be thicker. So when you try to pass it through the tube or whatever else, it's not gonna go through. And that's also what happens if you're trying to keep something from unraveling as it's already unraveling. You're chasing good after bad. So, oops, those are my good colors. So this is another one. You could put these on memory wire or just grab a piece of like 18 gauge wire. If you have 16, you could do it with 16. I'm actually gonna grab the 16 in copper instead. So 18 or 16 gauge, you could do lighter. I'm gonna show you why I recommend this, as long as my bench block hasn't managed to learn to fly as well. That's like driving me absolutely freaking batty. I've been married to Steve for 27 years, and if that man cannot find something, the whole house shut down until it was found. And we've been together for so long. Okay, so it's my bench block. And my rubber mallet. Okay. I do have that, which is good. So my mind is like hardwired for that. He'll tell you his favorite Christmas gift that I've ever gotten him were the tile systems. So he has one on his keys, he has one in his wallet, he has another one someplace else. And yeah, so it saved all of our sanity because they're all connected to his phone. If he can't find his phone, he can push a little thing on the tile in his wallet or on the tile on his key ring, and it makes his phone alert him to where it is. So, because it's keys, wallets, and his phone. If he loses them, he just goes bananas. So we're gonna grab this. I don't know if you guys have seen how Linda straightens her wire. I could never figure it out. And then I finally figured it out yesterday, and I got 4 pieces, very, very straight, which is good because I'm wire wrapping those for a gift for my sister. So I really needed those straight. And then this morning, every single time I tried to do it again, it wasn't working. I couldn't do it with one of these. I think it's just because there's so many uneven spots on stuff like that. So I actually used like the bigger one of these and rolled that back and forth over it, and I did it. It came to me more easily, but not easily enough for me to figure out what I was doing wrong this morning. So, okay, so we have a piece of wire. This is 16 gauge wire. The reason I kind of suggested 16 gauge wire, you're going to have to use beads as a larger hole, obviously. Know that up front before you start cutting a bunch of pieces of 16 gauge wire just to find out that it doesn't fit. Do I need to move Pixie up? Is it too low? Am I staying in camera, on camera? Well, the needles had little plastic tubes over them. I thought after we left that I should have had. Right? Exactly. Those would have been perfect for your funny, funny, funny roasting. I'm glad you're feeling better. I can tell when you are because your like full sense of humor comes back. I don't think those ones are big enough, but I know these ones, or at least they should be. No, they're not. Goodness gracious. I can cut a piece of 18 gauge because I know they'll fit on that. Well, at least I'm pretty sure. Oh, about 16 gauge was my 18 gauge. That's 20. You know, I might be able to find my stuff more easily if I had everything in one place. But that would make sense. And I don't know if that's ever really worked for me. Making sense. I'll just put with my place. Right here. I wanted to show you with the 16 gauge so that you could do a decorative loop on the end just by hammering one end, and then you have to put your beads on, and you have to be very careful when you hammer the second one, but we'll just stick to easy peasy today. So you have a piece of wire, and you measure it so you know how big of a piece I have. It's right over 5 inches, which should be more than enough for the top of your wrist and to have space to like put a loop. I'm obviously going to use my hybrid loop. You can use whichever one, whatever loop or how you want to do it. So I'm just going to bend with about an inch down. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my 6-step bell making pliers. I'm gonna stick it right in the bend. I'm not completely vertical. I'm not completely horizontal. I'm at like a 45-degree angle. Up, over, down. Then you rotate the pliers to where they're parallel. I'm gonna have to move Pixie up. This is too small of a work area for me. So who needs to go up slightly? I don't want to be off camera all day. Okay, he's done bouncing. And then I'm just going to grab my loop, make sure it stays the shape I want it to, and I'll grab another pair of pliers and just go around just the back. I like to have my loop all the way up at the top. It's better if you do that while it's in your pliers. So that's how I would recommend you do it. You know, I have no idea where my Nipex pliers went to. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I need to reset my desk so I know where everything is. And I still don't know where everything is. I'll use these. I usually don't like to use these ones. You can gauge, but okay, oops, I got a little bit of a lip on the side, so we're gonna want to take that off. Okay, and then all you're gonna do is you're gonna string your beads. I will tell you that I like to put at least a slight bend in my wire before I start feeding the beads on, so that when I fully bend it, I don't see gaps in between the beads that I didn't see because the wire was straight. So just a little something I like to do. I'm gonna make my life easy. I'm not gonna use the diamond ones. I'm gonna grab a variety of beads that all go together. So these, I'll be completely honest, I have no idea what these are made of. I bought them from Bead Box Bargains. If anybody else also bought them and know what they are, can you let the rest of the class know, please? Then we're just going to create a simple pattern. If you just want it to be beads, it can just be beads. It feels like they're clay. If I had to make a guess, I would say they feel like clay beads. And then maybe you switch to the crackle bead the second time, back to the clay bead. And then back to the solid one, and just create a nice little pattern. You're using 3 separate beads. None of these were expensive. The clay beads are, I think that's what they are 15 cents a piece, and the crackle ones are 11 cents a piece. I have the crackle in with these all at 11 cents a piece, so I'm guessing I put them together like that because they were the same price. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to figure out what to charge for my like how do I charge, like how do you figure out what to put everything in your stash that was there before it was a business? That's where I'm stuck right now. It's not the bead orders. Those are obviously easy because I know exactly what I charge. There's a sales tax. I'm talking about for the stuff that I personally make. That's where I get stuck. And I may have been wrong. These may have been glass. It looks like a little chip right there. So we're just going to do the same loop that we did on the other side, up, over, down, turn it horizontal, and then I'm going to make a loop. And I'm just going to go around like that. So the silicone sliders that I really wanted to show you are literally a metal bead that has, oh, here they are. Found them. So happy. This. So they're metal tube with silicone in between. They come in all sizes, as you can see. and they have an opening in the center. They are very similar to this. I will tell you that if you buy the correct size print cover beads, the little Pac-Man beads, you can create your own with these cheaper than you can buy these. So, but you have to get the right kind, otherwise it compresses the silicone and you can't get anything through it. So I choose to just buy them already made. But these are what we're going to use in a couple of our projects. I'm going to start with leather though. So we made our loop over at the end. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess. Oh my goodness. Why is the wire giving me so much trouble today? There we go. Okay. And then once you do that, you're going to want to put it on your wrist or on a bracelet, an oval bracelet mandrel, and then just kind of push it down. See where your loops are. I can see my loops are not facing the same way. So I want to fix that real quick. Just by turning this side ever so slightly. And then I don't want them to be tilted. You want them to be up straight. Now, we're going to start with leather. So I have some 2mm gray leather right here from Leather Cord USA. I've been missing my black leather. First puppy soul lose. I always do it with our taxes, but really, where's the end? Okay, we'll do it from the other side. Okay, so you're gonna want, what a good rule of thumb is, you want twice the length of the actual bracelet bar, at least, because we're going to make knots with it. So you're gonna want to cut that. Where am I? They're not crafty. Cutters. They're good cutters. They're just cutters I've used on things I shouldn't have. So we're going to cut one side, and then we're going to cut a piece for the second side, and I managed to lose the end back. We're going to cut it. So we have 2 pieces of gray leather. We're going to do some simple barrel knots. You can do them. If you have a way that is not the way I do it, that's perfectly fine. I will tell you that I use a tube bead. They also have these that work really well because you wrap around this, the leather around this, and then there's a channel for where you can insert your leather and scooch it down. And see, this side has a larger channel for like 3 to 5mm leather, whereas this is for like 0.5mm up to 2mm or something like that. I find that the tube bead is the easiest way for me. I do use both straight and curved tube beads. So if I'm just doing a knot where it's not directly right up against the bead, I prefer to use the straight. If it is right up against the bead, I prefer to use a curved one because it can curve with the bead and then it's not quite as finicky. Either way, I hold my tube bead in between my thumb and my second finger while I'm wrapping. That allows me to wrap neater, cleaner, however you want to say that. So we're just going to go in right there. You don't need much leather, but if you are new to knotting, it's better to give yourself a little bit more length than to be upset because you didn't have enough or it was too fiddly, which is a very technical term. and then you have to cut a longer piece, and now you feel like you've wasted your leather. So I'm going to do a double wrap. So I'm just going to go around once. You're going to go towards your left hand or your non-dominant hand. Yeah, see, even my hands are like, we need more leather there, ma'am. So we're going to go around once and around a second time. And then we're going to go through the tube bead. And yes, that's a very large loop. It will be smaller momentarily. And pull that through. Hold on to your knot, especially if you did what I just did. You didn't leave the end long enough. There we go. And then just tighten up your knot. I probably should have used the second step on my weaver, on my 6-step veil making plier. But there you go. You have that. And you have a nice knot. And then you're just going to do the same on the other side. You're going to push your leather through, create a loop by folding it back onto itself. You're going to grab your tube bead. You're going to go around once and around twice. The reason I don't call these veil making or barrel knot tubes is because Kelly used the curved ones. So I don't want to confuse anybody by using a different term than she did. And then they think that they didn't buy the right thing and they need to buy something new. That's not the case at all. So that's why I call them tube beads. Also, so that if you're looking for them, you will be able to find them because they're not known as barrel knot tubes anywhere other than YouTube. So that's why. Which is not a bad thing to do. Because what she charged for a single barrel knot tube was a lot more than you would spend on like 100 of them. So, but hey, excellent marketing technique. Okay, so now you have this and you have way too much leather at the back. What are you going to do? You can either square knot around this. You can do a sliding knot, which I'm horrible at. I cannot get those to save my life. Becky has an adjustable bracelet video that I really suggest you go watch because she uses several techniques to get an adjustable bracelet. So I would definitely go watch that after this. Obviously, what we're teaching right now is more like for the makers that are going to be at craft fairs and whatnot. So they're going to be there. I'm so sorry. I've not been keeping up with the chat at all. I apologize. I got distracted, was talking. All kinds of people came in. Barbara, Renee, Sherry Miller, who I saw over on Sarah. Tammy's here. And a few that are lurking, which is perfectly okay. The way I'm going to show you right now is using the silicone ones right here. And depending upon how you're making and what your design aesthetic is, maybe you only want black, brown, and gray, which again, you can buy these in multiple colors. This was a set of all of those colors. The 2 tones of pink, 2 tones of black, a blue, a black, and a clear. So to do this, I would recommend that you use your more pointy pliers, and I'll show you why. You're gonna go in here and you're going to open these up just like that. Do not apply very much force. You're going to put the leather through one way and then through the other way. And I really should have used two of them at the same time. Okay. I make a rule. These are so inexpensive that if I have to open it a second time, it goes in the garbage and I do a new one. That way they are strong. Then you just do a knot at either end of this and you now have an adjustable bracelet. Now, since this is for demonstration purposes, I will go ahead and do this again. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is to go like that. And they can slide it up that way. So there are two ways of doing it. Those are the two ways. You can put a knot. I'm going to show you another technique, but I'm going to be using the cording. So I will show you how to do it that way. But there's a quick and easy leather bracelet. If you were making one for a guy, throw some black agate beads on there with like a couple of chunky, like do a bead, a chunky spacer, and then the rest in black. There you go. You're good to go. And black agate beads are very inexpensive, as are onyx and whatever else. And onyx sounds like more expensive, but they're not really. So there's two ways to do it with leather. Obviously, I would glue these knots. I would cut this and I would tan it, which if you haven't been here before, let me go ahead and show you that just so you see what it looks like before you go to try it. So I have a rechargeable thread burner, which I love a lot. A lot. So right here you can see the bare leather cording through, and it doesn't have any of the coloring on it. A lot of people recommend to use a Sharpie. My son got annoyed because when it rained, the Sharpie bled onto his skin. So ever since then, I started looking for another way to do it. And I found that if I just turn on my thread burner and lightly tap it, you don't see it as much. I will tell you, gray is the most noticeable. You do not want to hold this on there or even like do it for too long because you are tanning the leather. You're not burning it to a crisp. Because if you burn it to a crisp, it's crunchy at the ends and nobody wants that for their stuff. Okay, now we're going to do almost the exact same thing, but instead we're going to do it with the cordie. And I'm going to show you how to use the other silicone slider. So I'm leaving the tape on till the very end. You're just going to again go through the end, and you can completely do an overhand knot right here, guys. You don't have to do barrel knots. You could do whatever kind of knot it is that you would like to do. I'm just showing this as the option. So I'm going to go around once, and I'm going to go around. The fabric ones, I will forewarn you, they're a little bit more slippery than leather. It's much like the like shiny leather, only a little bit more because cotton is softer. So there's no resistance, as like leather isn't as flexible. Okay, I'm just gonna pull that out. You're gonna move your knot up wherever you want it. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Obviously, when we cut it, we'll cut it at the tape level, and I'll show you that at the end. I know this does not match. I'm just doing this for demonstration points. Oops. What is, sorry, that was the one on the spool. I'm like, what the heck? I thought I cut 2 pieces. I did, in fact, cut 2 pieces. Okay. So you're just, again, going to make your loop. The hardest thing with the cotton is making sure that the second wrap is on top of the first. So that's why I like, oops, I gotta round this. If you find that it's not going through the barrel knot easily, it's probably because when you cut it with the scissors, it flattens some. So just kind of twirl it in your fingers or do what I just did and just give it a little swish. Okay, now we're going to use one of these. And I'm going to pick out the biggest one just so that for demonstration purposes, it's easy peasy. How about a dot of leather shoe? That would also work, Sherry. What's wrong, Dad? All right, go lay down, hon. You don't have to apologize. You gotta lay down. You gotta lay down. Oh, yay, Fammy. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited. Yes, you most definitely could use leather shoe paint or maybe even polish. I don't know. So, there is obviously a hole in the middle of this, and the bigger, the outer bead, the larger the hole in the center is. Now, I will forewarn you that this may look much more difficult than it is trying to do it under camera because these are slippery, as you can see with my struggling to get it. You're going to push the first end in and through, grab onto it, and pull it through. Do not try to put both ends through at the same time. It will end in tears and frustration, and nobody wants that. So I'm going to pull down the first strand, giving myself an opening in the silicone bead. And I'm going to take the second cording, and I'm going to try to push it through. And I will tell you that sometimes, oh, there it goes. Sometimes it's easier to like pull the slider instead. So again, you can do your knots, which I am going to knot this one just to show you guys. So I can show you a couple of different ways you can design this. I don't like the way my loops are sitting. So hold on just a second. They're like out to the side and not. There we go. Over and down just a bit. Yes, that looks much better now. I was like, what the heck? I know I get distracted in the middle of instructions sometime. I apologize. So again, you can do a barrel knot if you want, or you can do a simple overhand knot. If you don't double knot it the first time, but that's what you want, make sure that you use knotting tweezers or something like that to make sure that you get your knot in the same place, or just knot it twice in the beginning. One is more than enough for this because the opening in that silicone is not so small that you have to worry about doing it. Okay, now the design part of this. Going to take the tape off the end. Where am I going? See that. I don't move myself much. There we go. And this will be something that you'll have to decide based on yourself and then maybe how your sales do. That's not. It's tape. This tape is being very stubborn and it's annoying. I didn't think I wrapped it that many times. Okay, so with cording, you can leave as much at the end as you want. If and then like cording like this, where it's nice and thick, I believe this is 2 millimeter cording, you can create a little tassel here at the end. And obviously, what you do on one side, you want to do on the other as well. Where's mine? Then, when you get up to this part, you need to decide, do you want to put a tassel up here as well? Or am I just going to cut this string off right where it is, right at the end? And just like with leather, you're gonna want to glue. I use GS Hypo so that I can put the tip of the needle inside of the bead or inside of the knot itself. And I highly recommend that with any natural fiber cordings because even with GS Hypo, if it dries on the cotton or even a synthetic cording, it's going to get hard. And as your body moves and everything else, the glue's going to come on. I know that GS Hypo dries more rubbery, but it's just going to get dirty and rubbed off as it moves around on your wrist naturally. So you just need to decide. You could also decide to do 2 strings and say you doubled over the string right here, you pull it all the way down, and you have 2 strings. That is another decorative choice that you can make, and then you can like put beads on the end of the beads before you knot them. There's several ways that you can personalize a very simple bracelet idea that will set you apart from others. This slider is going to look more professional than these are. But I make leather bracelets all the time and use these. I don't like to use these on necklaces as much. I do every once in a while, but I make sure that the knots are there and I put like 4 of them on, especially this a guy's necklace. I put 4 of them on. If you're making, you can use these as spacers too. If you're trying to set up your kid corner, which I highly recommend that you have kid jewelry. You have something for kids because that's who's directing traffic when you're at a craft fair. They see something and grab on your mommy, look at it, and drag you over there. While they're looking, then mom starts looking. It happens. It happens very organically and naturally, and it just goes from there. Can you please go out and like this and share? Aw, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see what Linda said. Are my comments not showing up? I'm not ignoring you. Heather, I will answer your first message yesterday. I just got fall asleep. Like, yeah, that's fine. I figured it's fine. Totally fine. That's really smart, Sherry. Yeah, I would never intentionally ignore somebody. Even if somebody's being an ass, I'll kick them out before I just ignore them. Like, I would never do it intentionally. On days like this where it's not about a design, it's more about a it's more like technique and also talking about the ways that you can market and set up your table and everything like that. On days like that, I get on a roll. I get on my soapbox, whatever you want to call it. And yes, I don't always see the chat. So, yes. Oh, I see how you are. See, Steve's not home right now. If Steve was home, he'd walk in here, babe. No, there's a message. Oh, but he's at his other job. Looks like that's the one that pays the bills or something. I just don't get it. Um, so that's another way. Now, we're gonna cut this off yet again. This is just a bigger demonstration of how much product we go through as makers, as content creators. You guys have to know that even the design on the flies, there are techniques that we've done over and over and over again before we ever bring it onto our YouTube channel, because the last thing we want to do is look like we don't know what we're doing. So, next up, I'm going to talk to you about the way that you would connect this as a chain. And I don't have any of my rose gold jump rings right here, so I'm going to use gold to show this. But those are aged. I'm going to need that. Another way to do this, just like I won't stretch out these silicone things, I won't open a jump ring more than twice. After that, it gets thrown in the garbage, because that's why they're called consumables. You consume them, you go through them, they're necessary, you need them, whatever. So now I'm going to show you how to do this with chain. So just like everything else, we're going to cut 2 equal pieces of chain. With the chain, I don't feel like you have to go twice the length because we're not knotting the chain. So I typically go once the length and then a little bit extra, like an inch, maybe an inch and a half. And then I cut it, do the same thing we all do. Or if you're not doing it, stop counting lengths and do it this way. It'll save your sanity. Well, okay. So we're just going to cut 2 equal pieces of chain. And this is probably too much, but I'm just going to cut it where it is. Okay. So then you're just going to take your chain, you're going to take your jump ring, and you're going to open it up the way that you've done 100 times before. If you weren't here earlier, yes, experimenting. There you go. Aw, hi, babe. Love you. His ears must have been burning. And then I'm just going to put the chain through the jump ring, and then put the jump ring on the bracelet. Come on, these are very tiny little links. I'm purposely using these little links just so that demonstration purposes are easier. So and I was doing these type of bracelets for a long time, and like these are quick and easy to put together. I will tell you, Steve has talked about throwing his hat into the whole Facebook ring or whatnot. I told him I'll teach him and Kim at the same time, as long as they aren't too big a class clown. So you can put these through the smaller silicone, and I'm actually going to show you that so that you can see just how small you're able to go using this technique, because the interior is silicone. Then you're going to take a piece of thin wire, or beading wire works just as well, which is what I'm going to use because it's right here. You're going to go in through the last link of both sides of your chain. If you are doing a thicker chain and have a smaller silicone slider, you can, that was handy. That little crimp at the end just saved me from having to redo that. Sometimes it's going to be easier to do one at a time and basically do what I just did. And just use a bigger one, or what, like I did with the cording where I like held it down. But you're just going to, I gotta cut that off, but it still won't work. And then you're just going to put the ends of the beading wire through like that. You're going to take a pair of your pliers and you're going to pull your chain right onto it. The thing I will tell you is, you see how much resistance there is on this right now. That's not a bad thing. It's a little bit more than I would like, so I'm gonna go up one size, because I don't want you don't want people like, you said this is gonna, hey, Cooper, no, quit. I don't care who's barking out there. You're not doing it in here. Oh, look at that. It took the silicone ring out. Now you guys can see that what I said is exactly, it's the exact same thing as those. So that's why I'm saying, if you can find big enough print covers, that's all that's inside of those little metal beads. And you see it didn't really hold it well because there was a lot of resistance on the end. So, but that was my fault. I wanted to show that it could go through the small ones. If I had pulled one out at a time, it would not have popped out. But so you can see, just because it will go through doesn't mean that that's the size you want to pick. And I would actually recommend buying a variety pack, like a pack with varied sizes in it. What, you guys don't know what a variety pack is? Sorry. Sorry, those are the kinds of things on other tutorials that I roll my eyes at. So then when I do it, it's just like, come on. Okay. Ah, it popped out again. Goodness. The silicone might not be. I've had this in my stash for a long time. Well, looks like I have some new spacers, don't I? I'll just go to the biggest size, just to make life easier. Anyways, this does not normally happen. I've had these for like probably 4 or 5 years now, and I stopped using them. And I do live in Arizona, so it's extremely dry here. So the silicone is probably more brittle or whatnot. Anyways, you can do it like this. You can do it the other way, where you have them going in opposite directions. And then all you do to keep it from coming off is, once you decide, like I said, this is probably way too long. But this is something that you can customize right at your booth. And then just hang little charms at the bottom or whatever that would keep it from letting this slide over it. And I have them, and these aren't in the container. That's why I know that these are really old ones. Because I have them in gunmetal, rose gold, silver, sterling, I have them in all of the things, gold, all of that. And they are old because they're 18 karat gold plated and they were still only 26 cents each. Which, if you factor in the cost of a typical class, you're good. Now, do you need to use expensive chain for these kinds? I would say no. If you were doing a full, like, actual round, expensive pearls with 18 karat gold or 18 karat gold filled or even 18 karat gold plated on the rest of your metals, things like that, then absolutely you can go for a larger scale. This actually came in a multi-pack that I just bought off of Amazon that had all the different wires, the rose gold, stainless, silver, gunmetal. It was a big, huge pack, and it was like $10. While I say that, I will also say that you'll be surprised to find that 18 karat gold plated chain is not very expensive. And the people that I like to buy it from online is the Panda Hall, I think, or BB Craft. If you are wanting your 18 karat gold plated metals to go further, and to all match, buy all of them from one company. If you want the gold plating to last longer, whatever, I would get it over brass. Therefore, when the plating, if it wears off, whatever else, it's not going to be as noticeable as quickly because the metal color underneath is relatively the same as the plating over the top. And you'll be surprised. I prefer 18 karat gold plating color over brass than I do over copper or over stainless steel. I have found that 18 karat gold plated stainless steel has more of like a vintage gold color, I would say. It's not like completely antiqued, but it's not gold either. Those are my 2 cents on it. So yes, do you sell a lot of adjustable bracelets? But yeah, um, I did. I did in the beginning. Those were those were my bread and butter with the in my beginning booths. Because it brought people over and I wasn't sure they would want to pay what I was asking for the more expensive stuff. So I would bring little bits here and there. And then I started having women that bought for their daughters and then stayed to look at the more expensive stuff and to ask what else I had and did I have a card and things of that nature. So it's just you gotta feel it out. I'll tell you, farmers market, the leather and the cotton cording and everything else tends to sell better there. People that go to farmers markets are a different brand of people, and I'm one of them. They're hippy dippy. They want less synthetic and more real fibers. So they're going to appreciate the cotton cording. A lot of them are vegetarians, or so they're not going to want leather. Because if they're not willing to kill the animal to eat it, they're not willing to kill the animal to wear it either. So there's both sides of it. So those I do have more of the leather as well as the cotton cording. It just makes it it sells better there. Now, if I'm at a craft fair that is solely that, I have those for like Christmas gifts that little kids who have been given a budget to go shop for their friends or their siblings or whatever else. So there are things that they can afford to buy And again, if they're looking through stuff, your less expensive stuff, mom is, some of them are very picky and it takes them a long time to pick out the bracelet. They want to buy so and so, and I want to buy my teacher this one. And so it takes them a while to go through everything. So then mom gets bored and kind of starts glancing at your other stuff and hopefully purchases other items. But I'm telling you guys, kids direct traffic. If there are kids with you, they direct traffic when it comes to any outdoor anything. There's a thing here called First Friday, and then another one called Second Saturday, which is literally they shut everything down for that one night of the month on like First Fridays downtown Phoenix. And the more popular you are, the more you're like right at the heart where people are parking right in the parking garage right there next to the courthouse, things like that. In the beginning, you'll probably start out at the end somewhere. They don't charge a difference. It's a matter of they keep their popular ones up front right there. But then it's also how early are you willing to show up set up? So it's just a matter of things. Another thing you can do is you can do elastic. You make it look like it is a regular bracelet with a clasp, but underneath the beads is elastic. So guys who can't put on jewelry themselves are more, but don't want a stretch bracelet. It's like the best of both worlds. So yeah, I would, Renee, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Um, this is actually a full moo. I'm in my Mrs. Roper glory today. Sometimes I just gotta challenge. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something about that though, Sherry. We did a whole show on this. You have to be very careful doing that because whoever you bought the beads from may have had a licensing deal with Mattel or Disney or whatever else. The second they sell that bead, the licensing agreement is done. So if you want to sell beads that are like Disney or Marvel, that's the other one I was looking at, or things of that nature, you have to get your own licensing agreement. And they literally have teams of people that monitor this. So you just need to be very careful with that. I recommend animals or astronauts or things like that. And I have a whole thing of silicone beads that I'm staring at right now that I use to make baby teethers and wristlets and whatever else. And just be very careful because you think, oh, I'm small time, they won't care. You'd be surprised. So just be careful if you're buying licensed beads from someone else. That licensing deal is over the second they sell it. So just know. Yes, exactly. Cute silicone character beads up front for the kiddos, serve coffee for mom. Yes. So, yeah, exactly. Disney's the worst. The worst. And even if the beads you bought weren't licensed to begin with, like you bought them off of Temu or whatever else, just because it doesn't have a face on it doesn't mean that they still won't mail you, and it won't matter that the person you bought it from didn't have a licensing agreement. So they may still hit you. So just be very careful when dealing with stuff like that. As I said, I recommend doing animals or like just astronauts or cowboys, or you'd be amazed. You can find just about anything. Um, when it comes to a Jew. How are people selling licensed fabric on Tumblr? They have either sought out and gotten a secondary licensing agreement with the company themselves, or they're going to put themselves in hot water, especially if they're popular. They may be buying that directly from Disney, which if they're doing it that way, then the licensing deal is different because if it's something that but you still want to check. But if you're buying it directly from Disney, you can just ask, like, hey, or a Disney approved vendor or whatever, just ask them, like, what is the licensing deal as far as this? Does it go to a secondary one? Or, like, are you going, because you'll get a certificate. It's literally like you see the licensing that, like nail techs and stuff, it's very similar to that. But make sure that you do all of your stuff the right way because they'll catch you on the one thing you didn't buy directly from them covered under that license. And because you went through, they already know who you are. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's frustrating. That's why we did a whole show about it. Like we did sports teams and we talked about it that way because the NFL, NBA, all of that, colleges, everything, very similar. So we said, like, I'm a Denver Broncos fan. So get a Colorado charm with the star right where Denver is. Or things like that. Or get a horse head charm and put it on blue and a bracelet that has blue and orange beads. Other fans are going to know that that means you're a Broncos fan and just go that way. So, because those are the other ones that are the biggest sticklers. But the NFL, I talked to them, the prices I didn't have a big enough market for me to pay. So, but their process is much easier, or so I've heard. I've never tried to go through Disney. I've just heard horror stories. So yeah, I should have remembered this as I threw Cricket into a tizzy. Yep. Wow. Oh, Cricket had Coke stuff, like emblems and stuff come out. That's cool. We had one of our Crafter Club books get nailed by Disney. Yeah, you think that, oh, that happens to other people. Surely it won't happen to me. Wrong. They will get you. At least you can use your Cricut. Mine's sitting on a shelf because my memory recall isn't good enough to do all the steps. And I have to do something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So in order, and then I still like sometimes have to go back and watch at least the first couple of minutes of the technique instruction or whatever else, and then my brain's like, oh yes, this is in my Rolodex, and I go forward with it that way. Like I said, Becky has an amazing video over on Becky and Jenny Beading Together. I think that's their channel name now. Beading with Becky and Jenny. That might be it. Anyways, Becky put out a video last year where she literally went through and showed a multitude of ways. She used a barrel knot because when you make a knot with the barrel knot, I'll show you. When you make a barrel knot, you have two strands that are there. So go and you tie your barrel knot, right? You have your little loop. That's way too much on one end, not enough on the other. Again. Here, let me just cut off a longer piece of leather because that's gonna annoy me. This will be classy. Look like I can find the end of the leather again. Okay, so when you tie a barrel knot, right? You always want the wrapping piece on the top, not the bottom. So you wrap around, you do it 2, 3 times, whichever. I kind of like 2 because you have straight lines on one side and an X pattern on the other, and I like the way that the X pattern looks, which I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so one of the strands you use to tighten this knot. The other strand, the knot, the loop is adjustable. So she did it where she tied, where she knotted it, and then she kept this cord. So you could then make it adjustable that way because she agreed the sliding knots are hard to do. But so see, this side has 2 lines. If you flip it over, they crisscross. And I like the way this looks, especially for men's jewelry. I like the X part. So, but so she has a bracelet design in that video that's how she made it adjustable. And there were a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of other techniques and other ways to make adjustable bracelets that you can go through with. But thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that more than you know. But yeah, I love you, ladies. You're the best. My channel might be growing slower than others, but it's okay. Quality over quantity. Much rather have all of you than 1,000 nobodies that never say anything and never, come once a year or whatever. So I'd rather have you guys that love to show up for me and leave a comment and everything else. Like Randy was saying this morning, if somebody says something rude, you either delete it or block them. I try not to go that step too far because I do the live sales, but I'm also going to have a tutorial soon about a mirror that I made that I'm going to use for jewelry photos. Where I'm just going to place a bust in front of the mirror, but it's going to be angled, so you not only see the piece of jewelry on the front of the bust, you also see like the reflection of it in the mirror. It looks really cool, but of course I didn't buy a mirror, I made it. So I'm going to show you guys how I did that, and I'm going to show you how I would style photographs using that mirror. So that'll be fun. That's the fun part about TT's Trinkets and Treasures. It's not, I never wanted this to only be jewelry. So I do that, but yes. Okay, so my schedule is this time slot on Mondays and Fridays. Wednesday nights, so it's Arizona is its own time zone because we don't participate in daylight saving. So part of the year I'm Mountain Standard Time and the rest of the year I'm Pacific Standard Time. So I'm on at 12 during daylight savings and at 11 the rest of the year. On Wednesday nights, I have Wednesday night wind down where we chat and show off. I like to sometimes pull photos of things I saw other people do. Well, I want to start doing that. And whatnot. We talk more. It's more like, hey, this is a piece I'm making from something from my stash, not necessarily from items I sold in a sale that I'm trying to market to you. Even if I use beads from a specific bead box, I don't always mention that because that's just more of a stash night. And then Sunday nights are beading Besties, where I try to interview somebody from the jewelry community as about their jewelry journey. And if you would like to be on, you don't have to be like, I never meant for it to only be for content creators. So and then if you want to know about anything else, you can always go over and subscribe to the Beading Besties group. You have to answer all of the questions. They are specifically there, and they aren't just a yes or no or a multiple choice question, because AI can still answer those, and then you get spam accounts in your group. And so it has to be a typed out answer, which I'm sure they'll figure out how to do that soon enough. But right now, it keeps us safe, and you are allowed to share anything you want, your channel, pieces of jewelry you're selling, your Etsy account, your website, any of that stuff. If you're going to be at a craft fair in an area, you can post that up. The only thing the only rule there is that when it comes to talking money, that happens outside of the comments on Beading Besties. Either revert to text message or go to Messenger or whatever else to finish the transaction with someone. I just don't want anybody to ever come back and be like, no, I bought this from Beading Besties. No, you bought that from a member of Beading Besties, and they have their own company. Beading Besties is not, it's not owned by any one channel. It's for it's for the beading community. We have a team of admin, and that's like Beth and Rosanna and Becky and Jenny and somebody else. I can't remember right now. But it's funny because we literally have one rule. One rule. We've had no problem. The only thing anyone on the admin team has ever had to do is approve new member requests. Every once in a while, the algorithm thinks somebody's chat is spam. That happens once in a while, but we go through and we clear that out very easily. But that's all we've ever had to do. It's a self-moderated group because there's just that one rule. And we're all grown adults, right? I don't think any of us needs to be on post approval. I don't think any of us should be that moderated. I think we're all grown adults and we can police ourselves. And if not, then we just say, sorry, you can no longer be part of Beading Besties. But we haven't even done that. So, but yes. Why would they allow an alert? Sounds like it's disabled to protect kids. I don't know what you mean, Sherry. An alert. No, the only on I'm talking in our Facebook group, not on YouTube. Our Facebook group, the only thing we have not had anybody. Hi, Julie. We have not had anybody that have come to us and said, this person is being rude. This person is leaving negative comments. We're not having other people come to us on someone else's behalf and said, hey, every time this person posts, they're getting rude comments. Like, we've not had any of that. So I'm very happy because that's the way I wanted it. I'm a little depressed that they canceled the ability to have a group chat within a group, because we did at one time have a chat for every state in the US and US territories. And then we got to the point where they were talking about doing that, so we didn't put up international ones. We urged people that were in those groups that had started to communicate to set up their own on Messenger. And so I hope some of them have done that. But yes, the bell won't set an alert when you are on YouTube. Did you change it? You have to go and change the bell notification to all so that it will send it to you. If you don't do that, then no, you won't get an alert. I know because, well, if we must say, oh my gosh, Linda pointed out that my membership number was at 666, and so then I asked one of my kids to go follow it who had previously said, no offense, mom, but I don't want a notification for all your videos. And I was like, well, then turn the notification bell to none, and then you won't get them. So yeah, but you can change it. We had a lot of like, Beth was on Rosanna's channel this morning, Julie, in case you missed that. Beth was on Rosanna's channel and she was teaching how to make bracelets, adjustable bracelets, but she had the pre-made adjustable part. And so then I started by showing ways that you could make those yourself to keep costs down. And then we talked about marketing stuff. So yeah, that's so weird, Sherry. I'll go look at it. Maybe it's because you're in the video and sometimes on a live, I have to go back into YouTube and set it's not for kids, that kind of stuff after the fact. And I forgot to go over and do that on the live stream before I went live. Because I do mine through StreamYard, but that's something I have to do directly in YouTube Studio, and I forgot to do that this morning. So that's probably why it's not letting you try again later. Where did that happen? Oh, it's okay. So Beth subbed for Rosanna today, which is in Rose's Garden. I'm gonna scroll back up. 6905. So it's in Rose's Garden, 6905. Like I said, Beth subbed in. She had taken over last week because Rosanna had surgery last Monday. And they had talked about her doing this specific video. And so she came back on because Rosanna had a follow-up appointment today. She'd had her post-op appointment. So Beth was on, and then Beth was like, you know how to make these, so would you mind going on after and just taking it to the next level of here's how you can do that same thing, but on your own at home. Oh, and also you can buy on those pre-made ones, there will be like a link that has like a figure eight. You can buy those. And then you either put a cap or a knot, and then that holds it in place. You just want to make sure that the holes are made specifically for a certain size leather. Otherwise, it slides down really easily. So you don't want to buy ones where the holes are 5 millimeter and try to put 3 millimeter leather through it because it's not going to be adjustable. It's gonna get lost every single time because there's no way to do it. So you can order those, but yeah. Correct, Sherry. Yes. Yes, Roseanne wrote a video this morning. Yes, we did it. You're fine. I'm at home with dogs and it's a madhouse, so I get it. Don't worry about it. I have like 6 messages I have to go answer about puppies. So I can get these puppies sold and in their forever homes. But yeah, so I get it. No, totally, you're totally good. Don't mind it. Yes, but it has to be designated. Like, it doesn't matter. And most people put not for kids that way they don't get dinged if somebody lets their kid watch it and then complains that there are cuss words and whatever. So most people just put not for kids. But until I go in and designate the video as such, it won't allow it. So yeah. Oh, sorry, in Rose's. Did I say it wrong? Oh, you were just saying it's in Rose's garden. Correct. Apple. I was like, wait, what? And I will go ahead and go leave the link for the bead tubing again, really quick, in case you're looking for it. Like I said, I was not like knocking on Beadalong. It's just Beadalong's is 1.7 millimeters, and you get 5 meters for $5.99. The link that I'm about to go share is you get 32.8 yards of 2 millimeter tubing for $8.99. Yes, until I designate it, it won't alert. So it's annoying, but yeah, here I'm gonna go ahead. And did you guys hear an echo earlier? Like, are you hearing an echo right now while I have this open on my phone? Because I thought to teach people how I went and set up my do not disturb to where I literally had my laptop and my phone right here. I didn't pause the video, but I'm not getting an echo. Like it's rolling right now, and I don't have any kind of echo. The other reason I like the link I just sent you is because, like I said, this is 2 millimeter, 32.8 yards, which is $8.99. In case you don't know, a yard or a meter is 10% bigger than a yard. So a yard is 36 inches, a meter is 39 point blah blah blah. If you've ever looked at a skein of yarn and you look at it, that's always the difference between the two numbers. So the other reason I like this one, here, I'll just close that out and show you real quickly. So you can go in here and you don't have to just buy a spool of one color. They have like a neutrals option, which is like clear, black, and brown. You can get 10 different smaller spools that there are 10 different colors, and the amount is still the same. Oh wait, hold on, I need to make sure. Yes. Okay. So you're not having to go and buy 32.8 yards of one color just to find out, oh, I want to use more. So they have little like color vignettes. And so then they also have like 6 colors. And it's still 32.8 yards. The length is just broke up into 6 colors. So, because, thank you, it's actually a full length, like, muumuu. Very comfortable. I have a couple of them. I absolutely love them. But I know that I myself, as a crafter, go down a rabbit hole. I've had to, like, be very good and not go down the stamping rabbit hole right now that Dominique has inspired in all of us with her talent. Because I have the basic materials and I didn't stick with it, and I know I didn't stick with it. So I'm sticking to what I do and what I consistently do. But I don't want you guys to have to go like, oh, but yes, I want black, and ooh, that blue's pretty, and green, and buy 32.8 yards of one color. Because we'll do it. So that's a link for it. You can also find it in different shapes and whatever else. That's just a really good one. You can use like what's in the title of that listing to go and find other ones. Beetle on tubing is very good. I also said at the beginning, I've knotted with it just like leather. So it's another thing that you can use for your either vegetarian or vegan customers that don't like the faux suede, which is basically foam because it breaks easily, things like that. So they don't like that alternative. The tubing can be knotted just the same way. And I said in the beginning, my husband has a couple of bracelets and a necklace, and they haven't broke. So the tubing works just as well. You can barrel knot with it. You can do whatever you want with it. And again, it comes in multiple colors. And if you put the bead tubing on the part that goes around the side of your wrist and underneath, you're only having to bead the part that goes right across the top of your hand. One thing I do like to do when I use bead tubing, because it does kind of look like leather, I like to glue balls, the ball spacers on the end. And I like to glue those on to be the thing that keeps it on rather than making a loop. It makes it look a little more professional, a little more. I cut a thing of leather, or I mean a memory wire earlier that I glued the ball onto. So just glue a little ball spacer onto there. Let it dry completely. Like I tend to do these like 15 to 20 at a time. And then I let them dry for a couple days and I come back to them. And then that's what the end of it looks. You can also buy the little balls that are specifically made for memory wire. They're just really expensive. And this works and is much less expensive. And you don't have to use such a little one. Like the rose gold filled spacer balls that I used earlier this week, those have the same size hole as this little 2 millimeter bead does. So it's great. You just have to make sure that like I like to use the GS Hypo on the inside so I can put the needle on the inside. Then I slide it, then I put a little bit of the this specific color lid. And the reason is it literally dries within seconds. I've used this to needle the end of cord live, and it takes 7 seconds for the cord to be dry and for me to be able to work with it. It is so fast, so fast. So this holds the bead in place while the other glue is dry. A lot like how some people will use both hot glue and E6000 at the same time. Hot glue is meant to hold it in place while you're waiting for the E6000 to dry. So, yeah. You're welcome, guys. All right. Aw, thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that. I hope that you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll be on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys all then. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like on the way out, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and change the notification bell to all while you're not watching a live video. As always, guys, happy beading. And Beth, thank you for inviting me to do this part too. I forgot to say. Okay, happy beading.